So I'm going to share my screen. So this is Datadogs. Datadogs has gotten a lot of great press around how they map out this data. I don't know if they've probably written something themselves for this, but might want to look at how Datadogs is representing a lot of data, because they do a really good job of it. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody's used Datadogs.
while I was like for working for the blog, I came across like Datadog. So
Yeah,
basically, they have this microservice mapping that we have, as well as metrics for your services as well, like the health check and all those things.
right.
I've not tried a demo, but I went to the website.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've never played on it. I don't know if these are hyperlinked, but I'm guessing that they may be. But it's a pretty clean looking map, I think, however they've done it.
I believe that's hyperlinked, and I think one of the things that in order to deal with the amount of data that we would probably want to do some sort of drill down. So we kind of give a high level picture, and then we could drill down on the parts. And that's one of the things that component sets are going to help us with, is we can represent a group of services as a larger node, like you kind of see this in the red here, and then you can drill down into that component set. So
Right.
it'll help with the organization when we implement component sets.
And I could reach out to Datadogs and see if there's anybody that might give us some tips or hints of how they did this.
I've seen this library before.
You have?
Yeah. And what you do is you go to their website and you get a trial of it, and then you go view the source for the page, and it'll tell you the libraries that they're using. Kind of reverse engineer it.
Well, if anybody, if it'd be helpful, I'm happy to reach out to them and ask for any kind of
Are they in
feedback. I think
are they part of the CDF yet,
they are. I believe they are.
or are they
Yeah.
part of the CNCF?
I know they're part of CNCF. I don't know if they're part of CDF, but they know they're going to be at CDCon. I think that I could find somebody though to reach out to, and you know, we're a helpful group. They're not going to see us as a competitor, so I think that I could find somebody.
Okay. So that's kind of so if you're interested, please jump in, even if you don't know where to start, for picking up an issue, and I'll make sure that we'll get you all set up and ready to go on the the service catalog. And that's what we're focusing on right now, is the coding changes for the service catalog. So if you're interested, grab the issue, and if there's not enough detail in there, let me know. I have a tendency to be a little vague on the issues with the detail there, and I can get you going and get what you need as part of that process.
And then, Steve, do you think you're going to assign? You're going to try to look at like the difficulty level and start assigning, or is that something that would work for this group?
Yeah, if anybody's wanting me to assign an issue to you,
well, I know that's what Marky had said, that it helps a lot if the person creating them has an idea of the skill level of the team, that you say, hey, this would be a good one for you to start on, or this is going to be a tough one, can you take it on? It just helps sort of get the ball rolling, especially if you're a bit vague on the requirements.
yeah.
Unless we have an objection, I think I'm going to push Steve to try to manage it that way. So, it'll just be easier for you to figure out which ones would be a good fit for you. And Nitu she's not here today, but she has started to, kind of learn everybody's what they like to do, and she's getting better at it. So she may pick that up and do that as well. But she'll have to work with Steve though to figure out which tickets and how difficult they are.
And I believe Nitu is going to start taking over this meeting down the road.
We hope so, but I think she's out until the 1st.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So I will go ahead and, is everybody here interested in doing some coding, or does anybody have a major objection? Okay, I'm gonna take silence as everybody's ready to code their butts off.
And the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're hoping that the CD Foundation is going to sign up for Season of Docs, which would give us a budget of up to $15,000 to have a professional technical writer go through all of our docs, and somebody will have to kind of sign up to work with that individual. So if anybody's into documentation, let me know. I would do it. I can certainly sign up for that. I have written all the docs, but that's probably the reason why I shouldn't do it. But we'll see if we get accepted into that. And I'm hoping we will, because we do need help on the docs.
Oh, and one last thing. Let me share my screen. Gee. So I just want to thank Nat for helping out on getting our website reworked under Nginx and putting in the page speed modules.
Nice.
I did some tweaking on it, but we are actually coming in at a pretty good score. So we're actually coming in as at 1.4 seconds, which is a really good time.
Pretty
So
good.
there's one I have to look at. I'm not sure why this is happening. I think this should be handled by a page speed option that we need to enable. And there's a couple little things on images that I just have to, I have a image optimization for my Mac that I just have to optimize the images and take out all the garbage in them. So we're actually looking pretty good. A 92 is a really good score. There's some of these like the enable render blocking resources that is pretty difficult to solve. It has to do with above the fold loading of the CSS and the JS. And there's a way to do it in Nginx, but the Nginx version that we're using doesn't have the HTTP2 enabled on it for us to do it. So I'm not that worried about it. It's just a really like nitpicky thing. And trying to get 100 out of 100 on these is nearly impossible. But what we're looking at is our 1.4 seconds, which is a really nice load time. So thank you, Natch, for tackling that. And I think that was the main stuff I wanted to cover today. Does anybody else have anything that I may have missed?
Oh, I just want to update. Sasha did get the time with Steve to go over how Cloud Build is set up, so he'll be finishing off a blog on that. And Natch has volunteered to write a blog on the experience of going through and becoming a first-time user of the Ortelius version, the SaaS version. So those two blogs have been picked. If there's any other technical blogs that we should work on, I'm still looking for someone to do something on. I was hoping that I could get Phil Gibbs to work on a more in-depth look at the domain, how we built the domain structure. So we'll see if he comes up with that.
Hi, Tracy. I wanted to tell that I wrote a blog and I have uploaded it on Trello board. It is about on-premise installation of Ortelius. So if you could
Nice.
just check it and let me know if
So
that works.
did you open did you create a pull request for it?
No, she probably put it
No,
up on the Google Docs.
yeah, I have shared the drive link. I did the
Okay.
installation on my system and I have created a documentation of it.
Okay, and you've shared the in Trello. You shared the link.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have placed a garden to do section.
perfect. I
Awesome.
found it. I got it. Great. I'll work on getting that published today. Nice.
Is
Thank you for
any
doing that.
changes if required, or is it is fine like this?
I will read through it and I'll get back to you. I think it's going to be fine.
Okay.
You did a lot of work there, girl. You got a lot of screenshots and stuff. That's great.
Where are you located?
I'm in India.
Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure with the San Francisco Bridge behind you that you're a Silicon Valley girl. All right.
I will work on it today, and if there's anything that I think that needs to be added, so if we don't have enough word content on here, I will add some words on the top.
Also, I have the question when I installed it and website was working on the port, then nothing goes beyond than just the dog was moving his tail and nothing get beyond. So how to exactly go to the dashboard? The dashboard was not starting on. So is there any additional things that were needed to get started?
I'll have to look through where you got hung up and we'll see what we need to tweak on that.
We might want to
Like the
add this to the.
Ortelius dashboard, which Steve was showing just right now.
Yeah.
So that dashboard was itself there, but nothing was showing up. Like I did not have
Did you
access
go
to
through the
it.
hipster store tutorial? Actually, it
Yeah.
has the hipster store tutorial on the doc, on the,
It
I think on the
is not
doc.
for the on-premise installation, so
Yeah.
I didn't.
So what happens is after you do the sign up, it takes a little bit to provision the hipster store demo into your user ID. So we kind of run that in the background, and that's where it may have gotten timed out or something like that when it's trying to create the hipster store in for your user, your new company that you signed up for. So I'll have to look to see. I'll give it a try again to see if it's still happening. I did break
Okay.
it at one point with email because we moved the Ortelius.io domain over to the Linux Foundation, and when I did that, our mail server disappeared. So it kind of messed up some of the things in the background, but that should be fixed. I will take a look. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Tracy, why don't you show them the replacement for the dog?
Okay, let me find it. Let me share my screen again. Where is it? Now, where did I put it? This is our new, you probably can't see it, it's so small. It's a cow being sucked up by a spaceship.
So this is another New Mexico theme. Cows disappearing by aliens. So that's going to replace the dog wagging its tail.
Well, the dog wagging its tail, we needed to pay for a license for, so we had to come up with something different. And so we did the alien theme. And that's about it.
All right. Anybody else have anything? Okay, so just
Steve,
yep.
like you like we had planned to had planned to have a session on like integration of Ortelius with the what to say CI/CD pipeline tool, something like that. That has
That's right.
not been taken. Like if you can have that
Okay.
sometime.
Yeah, let me schedule that for a week from today.
Okay.
I will get that on the calendar because next Thursday is like our you know, next week we just had the general meeting, and then we had that Thursday's free, so I'll schedule that for next Thursday. We'll do it half hour later than today.
Okay.
I will put out an invite and let everybody know.
And one more query, like while using the console, like for the deploy hub, I was facing a lag. So like, are we using caching somewhere or not currently?
No, there's no caching in place.
I think like we should do that because that will increase the like the dependency map that you were showing right now. It was taking a lot of time to load. So something like we can do that.
Yeah, there's some background work. Part of it is when we go and fetch the data, we fetch all the data, and then on the client side, we filter it instead of filtering it on the server side and doing it that way. So that's one of the reasons why there's a little bit of a lag when we go and fetch all of the data all at once. And depending what we're trying to like map out, sometimes we do need all the data. And I think that's why if we are able to change the layout of those dependency graphs to be, like Tracy said, more interactive and drill down, I think we can bring less data back to the UI and then drill down. And when you drill down, that's when we do another transaction to go get the, more data to render. So I think it's going to go hand in hand with changing up the graphing as well as putting some interaction in.
And like if we can have caching, and then what to say, whenever we do a deployment and the components changes, we can do the refresh on a cache. So that will be basically more quicker than going to database every time.
Yep, exactly. The other thing, this is kind of a long-term goal, is right now the database is laid out in Postgres. There's like 135 or 140 tables that are used to keep track of all of the data and the relationships. And long-term, I think that we're going to need to move to a graph database to be able to render the relationships much quicker. But that's a big lift to do, to move from a relational database over to a graph database. I wish there was like a conversion routine that we could just run it through and it spits out our, take your Postgres database and just go here, move it into graph. But it's not quite that easy. Every single transaction we have has to be written in the graph query language.
If we had ORM, like we don't have to do these things, right?
What was that?
ORM, object relationship mapping.
Yeah, more of the problem is the queries themselves, because when you query a graph database, it has a different syntax than your traditional SQL queries, and that's where the hard part is every single transaction has to be rewritten with the new syntax, and that's where the big lift is literally you have to rewrite every single data access routine. I wish there was a way we can run in parallel where we can run both. So like new transactions, we could do through graph, and old transactions under the Postgres SQL, and we kind of mirror the data. That may be a solution, but I haven't really dove that far into it yet. The interesting part with like the graph database is, if you have like a many-to-many relationship that is in the order of a million composite rows, it'll handle it in 10 milliseconds versus into the seconds that we'd normally get into with a relational database. So if you're curious on that, you just look up a graph database. It's different than GraphQL. GraphQL is a RESTful API way, like what GitHub does. It's based on GraphQL transactions. So a graph database is different than GraphQL. And you'll see there's a couple different languages that you can use to interface with the graph database. It's definitely the way we need to go. I just don't know how to get there yet. So we're going to work on the service catalog, which is adding a couple rows to a table. All right, anything else?
Nothing from my end.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everybody. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign some issues to people for the service catalog work. Don't freak out if I assign you something. Just let me know that like you don't have time to work on it, or if it's if you think it's too complicated, it doesn't fit your skill set, just let me know and we'll reassign it. It's just like Tracy said, we're trying to get the ball rolling here.
This doesn't seem like a freak out group.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, everybody. And I will send out that invite for next Thursday around Ortelius and the CI process.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, everybody.
You.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.